Well, good morning and welcome everyone here to our second annual Brazil in the 21st Century conference at Stanford. We launched this initiative last year in partnership with BayBrazil, and this year's lineup is fantastic, possibly better than last year in terms of breadth and scope. And I'm actually personally very happy that we're continuing this tradition because I think it is a very important initiative that brings Brazil and Latin America closer to Silicon Valley. I've always believed that Latin America is kind of the forgotten region, and I'm a big believer in strengthening our ties and bridging this gap. So let me personally thank, first of all, to Margarise Correa for her hard work and dedication to help put this event together with such high-profile speakers, both from Brazil and local Brazilians living in Silicon Valley. And we need entrepreneurs like her to make this connection between the Brazilian entrepreneurial ecosystem and the US and Silicon Valley ecosystem. I actually met Margarise 5 or 6 or 7 years ago maybe, so I know she's been working diligently to build these bridges and make this magic work between both our regions. So a few words about the Rock Center and why we think this program is important. First of all, the Rock Center is a joint initiative between Stanford Law School, where you're sitting today, and the Stanford Graduate School of Business. And our focus is on corporate governance research, but we are also actively involved in executive education for corporate directors, for institutional investors, trustees of pension funds, journalists, and soon as well, venture capitalists. So about 3 years ago, we expanded to do international programs, and we have done programs for corporate directors in Sao Paulo and in Rio de Janeiro, in addition to places like China, Hong Kong, Mexico, Chile, and other markets that we're exploring like Australia, Singapore, Japan, India, Canada, and others. And we actually just came back from a series of programs in Latin America this summer, including Rio de Janeiro, and we were in Santiago and Monterrey, Mexico City. So we've been quite involved with corporate governance landscape in Latin America. And we focused those programs in 3 separate areas, some of which will be relevant to people here, others a bit more focused, but it was institutional investors, the role of independent directors in control corporations, and private equity. And the general format of those programs is for Stanford faculty to talk about the US context and then have local experts discuss about these issues in the local context in order to make it relevant for this audience. And by every measure, these events were a great success, and all our Stanford faculty love going to Brazil. Of course, Rio was picked over Sao Paulo, so for the joy of those cariocas in the room, that is always good. But it was a great success. So let me offer a few thoughts on Brazil now. When we did this program last year, there was considerably more interest and excitement about Brazil, but as you all know, 2013 has proven to be a challenging year for Brazil, with significant and rising social unrest, many protests across the country, and many question marks concerning its economy and capital markets. And I actually think that social inequality is a pervasive issue all over Latin America, and a key challenge that the region needs to tackle. And Brazil, with almost 200 million people, has probably the largest challenge in the region. But with the looming Soccer World Cup and Olympic Games, Brazil will be in the world spotlight, and I think the proper approach is to look at Brazil in a long-term view. And so I think that all of us that have had the pleasure to visit and go to Brazil know that the country is beautiful, the people are wonderful, and I'm always encouraged when we have the opportunity here to discuss science, technology, entrepreneurship, and Brazil's role in the global economy in such an interdisciplinary fashion. And so today's event will focus on the economic scenario of Brazil, mobile and e-commerce, biotech, and the investment scenario, and the Brazilian ecosystem of entrepreneurship and innovation. We also have one of the co-founders of the UFC and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu legend, Royan Gracie, which is very exciting. It's a new added benefit to this program. And I have to say that when I was at Stanford, one of my roommates was from Rio, and he was a big fan. He was a black belt jiu-jitsu, so I've learned all about that, and I'm a big fan ever since. So anyway, on behalf of the Stanford Rock Center, I want to thank you all very much for taking this day off from your busy agendas and attending this program, and I hope you enjoy it and you find it helpful. If you have any questions about the Rock Center, please let me know. We have a big website. I can talk to you about corporate governance and other issues. and I'll leave it to Margarise. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Evan. I love to work with Evan because he's a true BayBrazilian. He was born in Chile, and then he moved to the US, and then he's been going to Brazil to so many trips to do events and a bunch of businesses in Brazil. So, hey, you are a BayBrazilian. I love you, Evan. Thank you for having us. Thank you so much. It's so great to see you all, and I know some of you were here last year. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for choosing to spend your day with us. I know there are a lot of events today. We are honored that you chose to be with us. Just want to tell you a little bit about BayBrazil. So I live in the Bay Area for about 15 years. And 3 years ago, I found myself having so many friends and connected to technology. And I said, how can I connect these friends with my friends in Brazil that also are working in technology and innovation? Well, voila. I founded BayBrazil. That was 2010. And in the way, I met so many of you who have been helping me to create this nonprofit organization and build bridges between Silicon Valley and Brazil. So I'm so very thankful. I want to just show you a few of our events. So how do we connect people, right? One of our tools is events, such as these ones, when people come and get to know each other, and be friends and talk about business and create new opportunities and new possibilities. This is actually our conference last year. And so all our events have been held here in the region, and they address industry trends in Brazil, and they address how people can find new business opportunities and really interact and connect through BayBrazil. We also host international delegations. This particular day, we were hosting the mayor of Porto Alegre, a major capital city in Brazil. So, and today, our program is focused on one major industry, the digital market. The digital market in Brazil has been growing. We do have a lot of, we've been seeing this year that is a challenging year for Brazil. The cost of living in Brazil has been very high. Who noticed that? Who has been in Brazil lately? The most expensive pizza in the world, I heard, it is in Brazil. So there is a high cost of living in Brazil and doing business in Brazil. So that's what our panelists today and our keynote speakers will be addressing. What are the opportunities? Although there are so many challenges, what are the opportunities? And I'm so very thankful that all these panelists also agree to come and speak with us. I'm so very honored to have them here. I also want to recognize a big friend of BayBrazil that is here with us today, Ambassador Eduardo Prisco Ramos, the General Consul of Brazil in San Francisco. Please, Ambassador, join us here.
Ms. Margarise Correa, CEO of BayBrazil, Mr. Evan Epstein, the Executive Director of Stanford Brock Center for Corporate Governance. Everybody is hearing well? Yes? Yes. Okay. Distinguished scholars, businessmen, entrepreneurs, ladies and gentlemen. As everyone knows, the Bay Area is not only the most important tech cluster, but also one of the most thriving regions in the world economy. It naturally attracts people from across the globe, and with Brazilians is no different. In only 3 years' time, BayBrazil has positioned itself as the main representative of the Brazilian business community in the Bay Area. Its remarkable performance is in connecting locally established Brazilian businessmen and entrepreneurs into an intricately intertwined network could not have happened without the relentless, energetic, and passionate, nonetheless competent, work of its CEO, Margarise Correa. Margarise, what you have done ahead of BayBrazil is huge and cannot be deemed as merely a business networking organization. Rather, BayBrazil should be recognized as a remarkable initiative to widespread the Silicon Valley culture among Brazilians, focused on introducing to newcomers the key aspects of the local ecosystem, paving the way to a stronger business presence of Brazil in the region. I would also like to thank Brock Center for its support to this conference. That's the second in a row. It has been a pleasure for us to be here and may profit of this incredible buildings and facilities. On the other hand, never had Brazil been so in vogue in the Valley, and that happened also with BayBrazil's compelling business events that have been bringing a different perspective of what it's like doing business in Brazil. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, being the 7th largest economy in the world, 2nd in the hemisphere, 200 million people, 230 million cell phones, with a thriving tech-friendly market, and why not mentioning, with the advantage of practically staying on the same time zone, Brazil is one of the greatest options for US investments today and should be considered as a priority by venture capitalists and entrepreneurs in the Bay Area. By highlighting not only the enormous potential for investments in our country, but also by demystifying stereotypes, BayBrazil has been giving a timeless contribution for Brazil's trade and investments promotion strategy in the region. Needless to say that BayBrazil and Margarise herself have been among the closest partners of the Consulate General of Brazil. In this sense, it is with great pleasure that I give floor to the distinguished speakers we have at the summit today. Thank you very much indeed for your presence here.